Movies don't always age well, and sometimes the fact that they don't age well works to the movie's benefit. Uh, Recently, the trailer for one of the final movies intended for these shelves was released. Bad Boys for Life. Bad Boys for Life is one of only a dozen movies that will find its way onto these shelves in the next year or so. And I, the first Bad Boys came out when I was 17. I loved that movie. I thought it was fantastic. It was one of my favorite action movies for years and years and years. And I always wanted a sequel. And then one day I got Bad Boys 2. Now, while this clearly still has the Bad Boys 1 and 2 covers on it, as you can see, there's an empty spot for Bad Boys for Life when I get the custom art done for it and everything. Bad Boys 2 was something that I was so excited for when I heard it was announced, and then I didn't go see it in the theater, and I didn't watch it on DVD for years. And when I did, I was disappointed, and then I didn't watch it again for years and years and years. It's hard to know exactly what in my mind went wrong, but upon revisiting, I watched 1 and 2 back to back. I'm going to focus on 2 mostly. 1 can be a review for another day, maybe, but they didn't age particularly well, especially the first one. But the first one has a sort of like Three's Company almost plot to it. I have to pretend to be you, and you have to pretend to be me, and that kind of stuff. The second one is like a completely overstuffed mess of a movie that the simplicity of the first one is gone. There's like all these things happening plot-wise, just all kind of converging into this one story, not in a particularly cohesive way. And the action is way over the top and a little bit repetitive too. I mean, there's one too many car chases, one too many fist fights, one too many explosions. It is a Michael Bay movie after all. But you know what? I actually think I liked it better this time. I liked it better watching it this time because of the fact that it hasn't aged well. This is the kind of movie where now you can't do that in movies where it's like, well, the bad guy just has, beautiful women in bikinis just sort of lying around randomly, as sort of ambiance, more or less. You can't do that in movies. Well, that's objectifying women, and you can't, you have to give women agency, and you can't have them just blah, 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 blah. You know what? Sometimes the bad guy is a coked out asshole who would just have beautiful women in bikinis lazing about. That's the point of that villain, But the fact is that the men in this movie too, there's a misogyny to them that doesn't age well. There's a scene in this movie where, one of the sort of bits in the movie is, as far as the plot goes, Will Smith and Martin Lawrence are, the cops who play by their own rules. They have to take down a drug dealer. The end. There's no, there's stuff in there about Martin Lawrence's sister and will their partnership break up, and it doesn't matter. It's a vehicle for mayhem. That's all it is. But one of the plot threads is that the Martin Lawrence is sort of tired of all the violence, and he's gone into therapy. He's trying to sort of control his anger and all that. And he says to Will Smith at one point, "You should go into therapy." And Will Smith goes, "I did." And then they show this little quick flash, and Will Smith is getting a blowjob from the therapist. You cannot do that now, but you know what? The joke is that Will Smith is a player and can get pretty much any woman he wants. And you could say, "Now, well, that I don't like that. That doesn't play well with me anymore." And that's that one quick shot. It's a cheap joke. It's not even particularly funny, but it conveys his character. Could there have been better ways to do it? Oh, yes, there could have been better ways to do it. But this movie is a Michael Bay movie. We are lucky that he showed the restraint that he did. Bad Boys I only own 3 Michael Bay movies. Bad Boys 2, and The Rock. Those are the only ones from the very, very, very early Michael Bay movies that I could stomach. Pretty much, I used to own Transformers 1 and 2. I don't know. I finally just went, why do I have these? And I got rid of them. Michael Bay is not a good filmmaker. Bad Boys 1 and 2 are not well-made movies. They've got the quick cuts. They've got the weird thing Michael Bay does where it's not enough to cut. There's got to be like a flash when he cuts, and then everything's in slow motion all the fucking time. And it gets really old and distracting. And the problem with Bad Boys 2, and it still is a problem, is the movie never ends. It just goes on and on. I'm pretty sure I'm still watching this movie. And it gets to a point of ridiculousness that even for a movie of this kind, when you think your movie's over. No, there's another half an hour to the movie where they have to invade Cuba. And all these joint law enforcement agencies kind of come together to help them invade Cuba to rescue Martin Lawrence's sister, because that is a thing that would happen. It crosses that line for me. I'm all for like the really dumb action when people like I'm an advocate for the 4th Die Hard movie, and everyone he's holding on to the wing of a plane. It's like, yeah, and in the first one he jumped off the top of a building that was exploding. Dumb big action. The A-Team in a tank flying the tank by aiming and shooting. All for it. Martin Lawrence and Will Smith invading Cuba. It is just a little bit too far. It's got some fun stuff in it. Even the fun stuff is disjointed. There's a part where Martin Lawrence's daughter is going out on her first date, and he and Will Smith try to intimidate the kid that comes to the door. It's dated humor. There's stuff in there that wouldn't fly now. I think it's a funny scene. Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, that's the reason why these movies still work. That's the reason I am looking forward to Bad Boys for life, as well as the fact that Michael Bay is not directing it. They've got great chemistry. It's fun to watch Will Smith have fun. I forgot what it looks like to watch Will Smith have fun. I forgot how funny Martin Lawrence is. They're not great movies at all. Bad Boys falls into the category of like The Expendables or the Taken movies or the Olympus Has Fallen movies. Not good movies, even by action movie standards, but dumb fun. And if you can just turn your brain off and go with it the best that you can, even like I'm saying, Bad Boys 2 is sort of a step too far in a lot of places, you're going to get some enjoyment out of it. So I'm going with, for Bad Boys 2, I'm going with 3 out of 5 stars. It's not a movie. I mean, I know a lot of people have affection for it, and I've seen Hot Fuzz. I know, but it's one of those movies that just sort of doesn't hold up for me, and it just it pushes my suspension of disbelief past the point to where it's a really, really, really enjoyable movie. So, fingers crossed that Bad Boys for Life will be the best of the three, with Michael Bay not in the picture. I think it very well could be.